Hi, this is video 3. Um, I'm 2 months and about 3 days out from being on Xanax for 3 months. Uh, I was on Xanax for about 2.5 months and transferred to Klonopin for about 2 weeks, and I was taken off everything pretty fast. So that just means my head is a mess. Honestly, the first 2 months were pretty brutal. But I had no idea that 2 months later, a lot of my body symptoms would go away, and the mental symptoms came on full force. I would have guessed that the mental stuff would have been full force right away, but no, it took its sweet time, and now I'm having a hard time processing. Um, I'm having a bit of a hard time walking now. Putting one foot in front of another, it's actually taking effort. It doesn't help that I'm really dizzy and my head's constantly doing this weird wave thing. So every time, say I want to look at this hand, my head, when I look, if I look over at it, my vision is kind of like this. So everything's kind of a wave. It goes real fast for a second, then it slows down, it doesn't catch up. It sucks. My head's got so much pressure in it. It's not, I don't know, headache or whatever. It doesn't hurt. It's just so much pressure. I want to pop my head. I can't believe what 3 months of very low dose Xanax use has done to me. My job is suffering big time. I have people people in my life that help. If it wasn't for my girlfriend, I wouldn't be able to work. I cannot go to I can't go out to where I need to be. I have about 15-minute tolerance before my head starts freaking out. Before the anxiety is so out of control, I'm just going to go into a panic attack. I don't have a cap on my anxiety anymore. I literally have to run away from everything. It just sucks. It's no way to live. It's completely destroyed who I am so far, and it's only been 2 months. I try to be positive all the time. It keeps me going. But when I wake up every day and my head feels worse and worse, and comprehension's getting harder and harder, I live in a dream state. Nothing seems real. I'm completely detached from myself. I remember who I was, but it's not the same person. I miss that guy. I miss him a lot. I actually enjoyed my life. I have health problems in general that I was always trying to fix. Hence the benzo use after a while. I was prescribed Xanax for anxiety, panic. Bottle said I could take it 2 times a day. I took it once. 0.25. That's all. Once a day. And it got worse. And my anxieties, I started getting those withdrawals. So I started taking a little bit more. The bottle said I could take 2. Ugh. Ended up being a complete freaking disaster. So anybody even thinking about going on benzos, I would say the longest taken 3 days tops. I wouldn't even suggest that. Maybe 2 days, and then if you need to take another one, wait till next month. Dependency on benzos can start in 2 weeks. For me, probably almost a week and a half. I started feeling completely off the next day. But anyway, it's hard for me to comprehend what's going on. Everything I look at, I have to think and think. Part of my job is working from home, which is good. But it's become so complicated to keep up with everything. I haven't cried in like 2 days, which is weird because I cry every day. And considering the way my head feels, I should be. I just get these waves in my head of pulling in all directions. My body just, it's pulling. It's always moving. It's always like waving. I don't have vertigo. Although sometimes I think I do, but because it's bad dizziness. Just last week I said, if it gets any worse, I don't know what I'm going to do. I would take what I had last week over this any day, because at least as of last week, I was still going out. But I was starting to have panic attacks, and it was the scariest thing, so I'm sure that's not helping now. Anyway, I'm going to talk about insomnia for a bit. I have a different kind of insomnia where I could probably fall asleep in 10 minutes. But every time I'm about to nod off to sleep, I get a butterfly type wave that comes from my gut, goes through my chest into my head. I can actually see it get brighter in my eyes with my eyes closed, and it completely wakes me up. Doesn't matter. I can almost fall asleep 30 times, and I'm going to get that feeling 30 times. You cannot fall asleep with that. I have no idea what it is. Some people say it's adrenaline. I have no idea. If it is, I hope it goes away, because I've had it for 2 months, ever since I got off this stuff. So I take mirtazapine, brand name Remeron. I'm at 6.7 milligrams a night. I know that's making my head feel way worse. But you know what? I can't do anything about it because I'm dependent on that now. I can't cut down because my nervous system is so fucked up. So I have to wait till things calm down, or at least wait a little longer and see what happens. But it's going to be a long process to cut down on it. I still need to sleep, so I still need to take it, but I think I can get away with like 4.0 to go to sleep. I wish I never started taking that stuff, although I would have never slept. So it's a catch-22 on that. But I imagine it's making me a lot worse. I'm starting to feel guilty. I'm starting to feel stupid for even starting any of this. I'm supposed to be forgiving myself for making these mistakes because I can't. I just can't get it through my head. What happened? What happened to get me to this point? I don't know why I never told myself, hey, you're running your own business, you're doing good, even though you have these problems, you're doing way better than everybody else. Why didn't I ever say that to myself? I could have. I never did. And now I'm looking at that person because I certainly don't feel like him anymore. I'm looking at him going, oh, I'm so jealous of him. Ooh, he had an anxiety issue. Oh, he had some depersonalization, you know. I thought my DPDR before all this was bad. Now I get it. It's 10 times worse. I mentioned this in another video. I have visual snow. VS is where your visual field is static. I mean, imagine an old time television on an off channel that's static. That's what I see 24/7. Just just all over my visual field. I can shut my eyes and it's still there. It never goes away. It's a constant like hallucination. I've had it my whole life. Luckily, that hasn't gotten too much worse. There's no cure for it. You'd have to look it up to get more information, but it's complex. It comes with a lot of weird problems like trails, you know. I'm sure that builds up anxiety because you're always seeing weird stuff. You know, you get a lot of matrixing in shapes and stuff. And I've always had that. And I imagine it's, you know, having that along with this withdrawal from benzos, I imagine that's what's making my anxiety even worse because now everything's come really bizarre. It's also weird to hear yourself talk because things repeat all the time in your head. Benzo withdrawal is a bitch. It is very mentally weird. And you hear yourself say a word and it'll repeat in your head and you have to do your best to not pay attention to it so it can go away. Imagine going to sleep to that. That. Ugh, frustrating. The vibrating vision, and my whole body vibrates, as well as the horrendous anxiety just buzzes through your whole entire body, and it just never calms down. Weird thing is, my first week off of benzos, I had most of this stuff I'm talking about. The anxiety was horrific, but it faded away. I can only hope this is just a really bad wave and it's going to fade out for a while. It certainly hasn't done so yet. It just built gradually every day. I honestly can't tell if it's worse today than yesterday. It all depends. I try to distract myself so much, but I think it's about 10%, no, 5% worse than yesterday. I honestly can't tell. I'm so screwed up. The weird thing is, I'm able to do stuff like this, but it's hard for me to even tell what's going on. Maybe it's just been so much practice in my life functioning when it's been so hard, and now I'm having to deal with this. You know, what else is really strange, kind of funny, is I do a lot of talk to text. And almost everything I say on here, I almost want to say period, question mark, because that's what you do for text. Okay, anyway. So yeah, it's been a little over 2 months. I don't know why my head is so messed up now and not 1 month ago. Even though I was crying every day, I did think I was getting off easy compared to everybody else. But now I'm not finding a lot of people that have. Well, people can say they've had what I've got going on in my head, but they're also not on Remeron either. So it's hard for me to tell what's coming from what. If it's coming from the sleep med, which I'm sure some of it is, if it is, it's going to be a long time until I start feeling better because Tapering off of that's going to be a bitch. Some people find it easy, but when you have a really fragile nervous system, forget it. So you can't even eat things you like without things haywiring at night or whatever. It's hard to concentrate when your head's having these waves. It's just like constantly people pulling, pulling, crushing, and there's nothing I can do about it. Absolutely nothing. It makes me sad that heroin's easier to get off of. It makes me sad that I sit here and think I wish I was a heroin addict because I would have been done already. I would already be back to my normal life. Yeah, maybe tired and feeling like crap, but wow. And yet this stuff is completely legal. Ugh. I don't envy people who are in worse shape than me. I know I'm not supposed to compare, but at least I couldn't imagine it being worse. I could not imagine it being worse. I mean, if my head gets worse, then I'm pretty much incapacitated. I'll be the guy, like a stone. Except I'm able to think. My memory's not really too bad, surprisingly. It got worse, but I've normally always had a really good memory, so it being a little worse isn't too bad. I can't exercise. I do a little bit, but my heart races so fast. I've been to a heart doctor. I've had my 2-week monitor on. Got that done a week ago. Got an echo test. Thank goodness my anxiety wasn't that high when I did the echo test. I'm actually thinking about going back for my results on November 3rd. It's frightening. Got a lot of blood work, thyroid and sugars and all that good stuff. I'm sure it's all going to be out of whack, but if something's crazy out of whack, at least, maybe I can get feeling a little bit better. I have a feeling I'm going to end up on heart meds. My heart at one point, when I was, for 3 weeks, I was going to our little gym I have over at my apartment complex. I was going 3 times. No, I was going like 5 days a week, probably more. But I was only going for 15 minutes on a bike. A sit-down bike at that. And out of nowhere, I mean, when I first got off of benzos, my heart was really fast, but it seemed to slow down enough so I could, do a little exercise. And then one time I was just on level 1 going real slow, and my heart rate just kept going up and up and up. It went over 200 beats per minute. I thought that was it. I thought I was dead. I actually thought, oh my God, it was horrifying. I'll remember that day for the rest of my life. Well, the heart doctor says, well, it's a weak heart. Well, it's also benzo withdrawal. Not too many people get in that predicament where it just keeps going and going. I guess I'm lucky, huh? So I might end up on meds, which is weird because when my sit down, when I'm relaxing for a while, my heart rate will be 70 to 80, which for me is really good. So being on heart meds is gonna just suck because I know I'll have side effects from that. So I'm a little worried about that. So just to get off one benzo, I'm right now on a psychiatric sleep med, and I probably will end up on a heart med. And who knows? It's just a never-ending cycle. I just have to keep on remembering what I gotta keep on remembering what the prize is, and that's to get better. That's what everybody needs to remember. Everybody needs to remember not to even go on this stuff in the first place, and you won't ruin your life. I know a lot of people online that are going through the same thing, or some worse, some not as bad, and everybody's freaking suffering. Humans shouldn't be suffering. It's sad. Well, this has gone over 20 minutes of me just going on and on, so I'm going to cut this one. I'll come back to you tomorrow or the next.